One night, I sat at my desk staring at my to-do list like it was written in another language. I wasn't tired. I wasn't distracted. I was just blank. No thoughts, no drive. Just a heavy fog where my brain should have been. That scared me more than any failure ever had because I always been the figure it out type person. Hustle harder, learn faster, fix it, improve it. But this time, nothing was working. And deep down, I realized something I didn't want to say out loud. I didn't know why I was the way I was. I had no map, no manual, and no idea how to get back to myself. If you've ever felt that, like you're trying to build a life on top of confusion, stay with me. Because in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to walk you through what I discovered after years of trying every solution out there and how I finally found a way to understand my own wiring. You ever cancel plans? Not because you didn't want to go, but because you already spent hours mentally preparing for the conversation. Like you're exhausted by people you haven't even seen yet. I call it overstimulation by human interaction. Or maybe you're in a meeting or out with friends smiling, but inside it feel like you stepped outside your own body, nodding, laughing, but not really here, just acting. Sometimes you walk into a room and you feel tension before anyone says a word, and days later, you're still obsessing over that weird look someone gave you, replaying it, rethinking it, and wondering why you care so much. Maybe you've had that quiet drive home, windows up, music off, just trying to breathe again after a perfectly normal evening. Nothing went wrong, but you feel like your skin's too thin, like the night left a mark. And when you try to explain this to people, they don't get it. They say, don't overthink it, or you're too sensitive. And deep down, you start wondering, am I? If that sounds familiar, then hey, maybe this isn't just about mood. Maybe it's wiring. Maybe you've been navigating a storm that nobody else can see. And that's when I started to realize it wasn't the world draining me. It was the disconnect between how I looked and how I felt. And no productivity hack was ever going to fix that. So, what is that? Let's break it down. Those crashes, those spikes, that deep exhaustion from things that don't seem tiring, it's not dramatic. It's not too emotional. It's your brain's wiring. See, science has shown that some of us are wired with high sensitivity neurologically, not metaphorically. It means your brain processes more data from the world around you. The light feels a little brighter, the noise a little louder, a look, a tone, a moment. You absorb it deeper and analyze it longer. It's not a flaw, it's an amplifier. Research calls this trait sensory processing sensitivity. And no, that doesn't mean you're weak. It means your nervous system picks up more signals and your brain doesn't just store them, it processes them, all of them. So while someone else brushes off a weird interaction, you might still be unpacking what it meant, what it felt like, how you should have responded, and what it says about you. And here's the kicker. Your brain is working harder even when you're standing still. It's scanning, evaluating, preparing. Hey, no wonder you're tired. This isn't woo-woo. This is peer-reviewed science. Psychologists have studied this for decades, and if what I'm describing sounds eerily familiar, you're not alone. Roughly 15 to 20% of people have this trait. Most of them don't even know it has a name. They just think they're bad at life. But That's the problem. You've been trying to live by rules built for a brain that's not yours. If you ever tried to fix your life, like it's a messy closet, pulling out habits, routines, advice from podcasts or strangers online, but still ended up wondering why nothing actually fits, maybe it's because you're not disorganized. You're just organized, or you're just organizing by somebody else's manual. You are literally living your life by somebody else's rules. That was me. I kept trying to copy people I admire, their morning routines, their mindset tricks, their focus hacks. And every time one of them didn't work for me, I blamed myself. Not the method, not the mismatch, me. Because that's what we do, right? We assume the method is gospel. And if it doesn't work, we must be broken. But what if you're not? What if your brain already has a set of rules, a quiet, hidden operating system beneath the surface, and you've just never been taught how to read it? Here's where it gets interesting. I told you earlier, this isn't about vague moods or vibes. There's real research behind this, and for people like us who often feel too much or too weird or too wrong, there's a way to finally see what's going on under the hood. It's not therapy. It's not medication. It's not some TikTok quiz either. It's an actual personality framework backed by decades of psychology. And no, it's not just about what kind of potato you'll be at brunch. This thing, it gave me language for the parts of myself I thought were unfixable. It showed me why certain jobs drained me, why certain people felt like sunshine and others like static, why my brain needed different environments to thrive. It didn't fix me, it understood me. And sometimes that's all it takes to stop trying to be someone else and finally start living as yourself. So, what is it? It's called the MBTI, the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, a tool that doesn't try to fix you, it translates you. And let me tell you something. When I first read my results, I didn't feel labeled. I felt seen. Like someone had climbed into my head, turned the lights on, and handed me a mirror. MBTI doesn't put you in a box. Actually, it takes you outside of the box. It shows you the box you've already been living in and how to finally step outside of it. It breaks your personality down into 4 simple dimensions. But the picture it paints is uncannily accurate. Not just who you are or when you're winning, but who you are when you're unraveling. We always want to know who we are when we on top, but we never want to know who we are while we're unraveling. Why you overthink, why you burn out, why small talk drains you, why conflict haunts you longer than it should. It even explains how you love, how you work, and why some days the world the world just feels too loud. Here's the wild part. You take a test, about 90 questions. You don't need to study. You don't need to prepare. You just need to be brutally honest about how you really move through the world when no one is watching. And when the results hit, you stop chasing advice meant for brains that aren't yours. You start building routines, relationships, even careers based on your actual wiring. You stop saying, I'm too sensitive, and start saying, I process the world merely different. You stop trying to become someone else's definition of success, and you start becoming your own version of powerful. And that's what this is, a map back to yourself. And trust me, it's not just personal, it's practical. So now you know what it is, the MBTI, a language, a mirror, a map. But this part, this isn't about me anymore. This is where your story begins. Because I don't know what part of you is tired, what part is hiding, what part is aching to be understood, but too scared to be seen. I don't know which mask you've learned to wear just to get through the day, or what pieces of yourself you've tucked away because the world called them too much or too emotional or too weird. But I do know this, you're not broken. You're wired. And maybe, just maybe, you're not lost. You're just reading somebody else's map. So what if today you gave yourself permission to stop? What if today you just listened? The world will always tell you to be more efficient, more confident, more this, more that, but it rarely tells you to be more you. You know why? Because it's only one you. And if it's only one you and only one experience you get, how is somebody else's brain map, life map going to help you? So here's your permission slip to pause, to sit in the quiet, to notice what you actually need, not what you were told you need. To ask, what if the parts of me I've been hiding are the exact parts I'm supposed to build from? I'm not here to give you answers because you already have them, babe. They've just been buried under expectations, noise, and other people's voices. This podcast, I said, this podcast right here, it isn't the end of the story. It's just the moment you stop reading everybody else's script and start writing your own. So before you press play on the next thing, before you scroll or switch or swipe away, give yourself a moment, a real one. Let the silence ask the questions. Let the answers rise from the part of you that's been waiting to speak. And when you're ready, meet yourself. Not the polished version, not the edited version, but the real, complicated, powerful, deep feeling, meaning making you. The world doesn't need another carbon copy of what works. It needs you, exactly as you are, finally understood. I'm Chrissy, your wise but not stuffy guide. Be sure to like, follow, and share and drop a comment, because I mean this for real. Be authentically you. I'm getting beside myself. Unapologetically you. And that's perfectly, fairly well. All right, now. Y'all be well. See you next time. Breaking news hitting like a rock star this morning.
That's an interesting case.
Something unexpected.
However,
I don't know what I'd do if I were there. That's wiki. You can't imagine what happened yesterday.
I see bullshit and call it for what it is.
That's an interesting case. You can't imagine what happened yesterday. You definitely need to listen to me. We are on air now. Welcome to the show.